Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Monday, January 23rd. Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith. He is back, ladies and gentlemen, for this Monday edition of the Ice Guys and a four-game NHL slate taking place tonight. We'll break down each and every one of those games. We'll look back a little bit on Sunday's action as well. Before we get into that, we do want to remind you that we are having our January live betcast Tuesday night. That's tomorrow night, January the 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We've already got very solid response. People interested in joining us on the stream tomorrow night during the betcast. And of course, if you're just, we've had a lot of new viewers and listeners, I find, the last several weeks, which has been terrific. And if you've never tuned in to our betcast or joined us on the stream, it's one of the most fun things we will do on this show. Like, doing this show every day is fun, don't get me wrong. The betcast is a different level of fun. It's Alex and I. A lot of our viewers and listeners join us right on the stream as the betcast is going on, and we just shoot the shit. We're watching the games unfold in real time, placing live bets, hoping to win more of those live bets than not. Doesn't always happen. Doesn't always work that way, but we certainly strive to be profitable with the live bets that we fire away on during the betcast. And we encourage you to bring, your favorite beverage, booze, whatever you want. It's a bar and a pub type of atmosphere, just a relaxed, laid back, chill environment, have lots of fun, watch the games, and try to make some money in the process. So the live betcast tomorrow night, our January betcast and our first betcast of the new year, 2023, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join us on the betcast, on the stream, just DM me and we'll make sure that we send you the link before the betcast begins. And as Alex, you'll attest to, the betcast is a lot of fun, and looking forward to getting our first betcast going for 2023 on Tuesday night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks like it's going to be, like I said, already, getting the responses of people wanting to join. So it's going to be a lot of fun. These have been great over the, last several ones we've done. And it's just a lot of fun. Like I said, having that kind of bar atmosphere and watching the game, it's like watching the game with friends. And like I said, we're helping each other making live bets and looking out for different things. And the fact that when it's a packed card like that, we all can be watching, a different game and point something out, and then we all flip over to it. So it's just a lot of fun. If you haven't joined us, definitely try to make some time tomorrow and join us tomorrow night.
Yeah, no question. It's always a lot of fun, and looking forward to that tomorrow night. And I just want to point out some of the games we've got tomorrow night. Minnesota, Tampa Bay. That's a pretty good game. Florida versus Pittsburgh. Two teams desperate for points right now that were supposed to be pretty good, that have kind of fallen on hard times a little bit. That's a pretty good game. Vegas and New Jersey. That's a pretty intriguing game tomorrow night on the slate. Winnipeg and Nashville. Big divisional game there. We've got Washington, Colorado. We've got the debut of Rick Tocchet as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow night, hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. And like I said, we may not stay for the entirety of that game. The plan is we'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll get you through till the end of the Washington-Colorado game at the very least. So we'll stay on till at least 11:30 p.m. Eastern, or whenever that game ends. It'll be around that time, and then we'll go from there, and we'll see if see what the atmosphere's like at that time, and if it's people are getting a little tired and things are winding down and there's not as big of a crowd or either tuning in or joining us live on the stream at that time. We'll shut it down after the Washington Colorado game tomorrow night, but we'll play it by ear for sure. Alex, some thoughts on the we'll get you the floor because we haven't heard from you for a few days. We'll let you speak on the Sunday games or anything that happened in the weekend. I mean, do you want to talk about everything that happened with Bruce Boudreau? That's obviously been a hot topic. I went I've been pretty wild with anger and frustration and just disappointment for the Vancouver Canucks and how they've handled that entire situation. And if you saw Jimmy Murphy on Friday, holy mackerel, he was very upset with the way things were handled by the Vancouver Canucks with regards to Bruce Boudreau. But you can talk about that or anything in terms of the action on the ice that we saw over the weekend.
Well, that certainly caught my eye, of course, because that's not only the biggest story of the weekend, but the takeaway that cracked me up the most is that, of course, all right, Boudreau's gone. You just assume all the assistants are gone. Well, no, They get rid of 2 of them, and the one guy they keep on board is none other than Mike Yeo. And
How do you keep
Rick
getting
Tocchet,
jobs? Seriously, how did
and
that
Rick
happen?
Tocchet. Wait, and then Rick Tocchet goes, yeah, well, he's going to have a lot of autonomy here moving forward. It's like, so your issue's defense, and this is the guy who's supposedly the defensive-minded coach. And we've seen what happened to the demise in Minnesota. We saw what happened with him as the interim and the demise in Philly. We saw what happened already now leading to this point in Vancouver. And that's the guy you decided to keep around. If you got a clean house, clean house. And if you were going to fire any assistant, that's probably the first assistant should have been gone, because he's the one responsible for the defense, which has been the issue for this team. So I just find it just baffling how he sticks around and still has a job in the league is beyond me. And I don't think this is going to be the that kind of bump we saw from when Boudreau took over last year, or how we see that from certain coaches. I don't think this is going to really be a big jolt, especially when you're talking about this is a guy still running the defense. So something to keep in mind. Maybe hinting at a little something for tomorrow, but I think that is obviously the biggest takeaway is the way that they screwed around with Boudreau and just, say, oh, you're going to be fired. Well, no, you're not. Well, yeah, we got Tocchet waiting. And just, you don't do that. You just don't do that to people in any line of work.
Yeah, it definitely was handled poorly. There's no question about that. And I'm not really enamored with the kind of apology we heard from Jim Rutherford yesterday. Kind of half-hearted apology. I think it sounded like an apology only because he felt he had to. At the end of the day, and saying, because he didn't really say, oh, we should have really changed the way we did things. He said it's just the way the process unfolded. No, you could have done things a whole lot better, Jim. Come on. You don't there's no doubt you could have handled things better than that. As far as the Sunday games, man, best bet was a disappointing heartbreaker for me. I thought Pittsburgh played well enough to win against New Jersey, but I don't fault that wager one bit. Fault making that bet. It was still a good spot for Pittsburgh. I thought they played a very good road game. I blame Marcus Pettersson. You cannot put your team in a situation for too many men on the ice in a 3-on-3 overtime. You can't. And obviously they paid the price for it. New Jersey scores the game winner on the power play and gets a 2-1 victory there over the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's just you got to have better mental smarts than that in that state of the game, that time in the game. You cannot, jump on the ice early and risk getting a too many men on the ice penalty. And it clearly was. And it obviously gave New Jersey the power play that they took advantage of in order to get that 2-1 win in overtime over the Penguins. The LA Kings bounced back from the loss against Nashville. They beat Chicago 2-1. It's been a while since we've seen the Blackhawks experience a loss, and finally back in the loss column last night were the Blackhawks 2-1 over the. But again, a very competitive effort from the Blackhawks, even in defeat. Seems even when they're losing right now, they're right in the game. Boston just, dominates San Jose 4-0. Like I said, the Bruins are not the team that you routinely say, oh, flat spot, playing a below average team. Other than that really rough spot that they had against Seattle, and by the way, Seattle's a very good team. That isn't San Jose. Other than that one game, Bruins have not had let up spots, let down spots, flat spots, taken the opponent for granted. They haven't had any of those situations. Really, Boston this year. That's why they've got this incredible record. And obviously they took care of business against a team they're definitely much better than. And they did that last night 4-0. Didn't know if I would see Timo Meier versus Brandon Carlo on a fight card last night, but
Right.
We did see it right at the beginning of that hockey game. But credit to Timo Meier for dropping although Carlo pretty much got him into it, but still, I mean, he was throwing pretty good, actually, Meier. So I give him a shit ton of credit in that early scrap there with Brandon Carlo in that game. About the only highlight for San Jose Sharks fans as Boston rolls to a 4-0 victory. The Winnipeg Jets 5-3 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. They had a 3-0 lead, coughed up the lead, but then were able to get it back to a 5-3. And David Riddick, I'm kind of pissed off I didn't bet over the total in that game. There were other overs I liked that didn't get there, and this one I ended up passing on, should have taken over the total here with Riddick and Sandstrom. It was really a battle of backups for these two teams last night, and the Jets get a 5-3 win and end the road trip at least on a nice note after obviously dropping the first 2 games of the road. Actually, the road trip continues for them tomorrow night in Nashville, but they're back to even terms, 2-2 on the road trip. And the last game, I mean, for Vegas, it's just one step forward, two steps back. They clobber Washington, although no Ovechkin Saturday night when they played the Capitals, and a huge step back last night, losing to Arizona 4-1. On the road. Very disheartening performance from Vegas. We've said that Vegas is a very depleted bunch right now. We've said this for several games in a row. The defensemen that are out, including Theodore and Whitecloud, they've been without Mark Stone now for recent games. I mean, they've been a very injury-plagued hockey team, but you can only use that as an excuse for so long. You've got to have more consistency in your game, and when you do have players, out of the lineup, you've got to dig in even more as a team, particularly in your own end, and you've got to get contributions from the other players and the next man up mentality. And certainly we didn't see enough of that from Vegas, and continues to be really since that torrid first month of the season that the Vegas Golden Knights had. They've really been a mediocre 500 type team ever since. They really have, if you actually go back and look at it. So you really start to wonder about Vegas and if they're going to be able to flip that switch again. First of all, let's let them get healthy. There is a part of me that says, let's let them get healthy. Let's let them get all their, key cogs back on the ice, and then we'll evaluate how things go for them. But even with all the manpower that's out right now, you got to put better results on the board than what we've seen from this team in recent weeks. Alex, thoughts from yesterday? Oh, I think we lost Alex there, but we'll see if we can get him back in just a second. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the Sunday games yesterday, not the most appealing card, no question about that. But I think Alex is back now. Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like I had a picture the whole time, but I just couldn't hear it. I didn't have any audio whatsoever. But yeah, just back to what you were saying about with Vegas. Starting this. There's now, 4 more games of this road trip. They got to be really careful. You can, like I said, you got Seattle and a bunch of teams that are really close now to catching up with you. And obviously, you're gonna have teams that are in tough spots. We're gonna talk about a couple teams that are kind of hitting a rough stride after having a good start to the season, and that's going to happen. It's inevitable, but it's just unfortunate. This is the time now. I mean, losing to by margin to Arizona and not having to hit the road for 4 more. Heading into the All-Star break, it may not be, some of the best spots for them moving forward, and that's just kind of tough. We talked about it with the Christmas break and the Thanksgiving break. You want to head in when they have, some good momentum going into that layoff. If they don't have that rolling, then who knows what can happen moving forward. So it's kind of a really bad down the hatches time, I think, for Vegas amongst a couple of teams heading into the break.
Yeah, no question. There's this is an important stretch here with this last week and a half before the All-Star break approaches for the Vegas Golden Knights, because they are in just a beast of a division right now where there's just so many good teams all around them, and they could easily and very quickly find themselves not even in the top 3 in the division and down in that wild card pack, especially if Calgary ever gets their game going and gets their game back together again. And the Flames, we'll talk about them, the Johnny Gaudreau Bowl tonight as the Columbus Blue Jackets make their return, or Johnny Gaudreau, I should say, makes his return to Calgary for the first time as a member of the Jackets tonight. If Calgary gets on a run, and they're coming off, I think, one of their best complete games of the season, a very, very thorough, dominant, impressive win against Tampa on Saturday at home. If they ever get going, it's going to put even more pressure on Vegas, to get their game back on track and avoid being tracked down from behind by other teams. All right, let's go to the Monday card. We got 4 games on tap. We'll begin with the Islanders taking on the Leafs. Toronto minus 250 now, home favorites in this game. 6 the total, shaded to the under. There has been some money coming in on Toronto, about a 20-30 cent move toward the Leafs throughout the course of the day. I cashed a ticket with Carolina in regulation Saturday night against this Islanders team. Their 4th straight loss, 1-8 in their last 9 games. Just not playing good hockey. We've talked about this ad nauseum. The power play is awful right now. 6 straight games without a power play goal. They just aren't scoring goals consistently during this rough stretch. I mean, during these last 9 games, you look at what the New York Islanders are doing, or should I say not doing, offensively. They've been held to 2 goals or less in 8 of the last 9 games. I mean, they have just not been putting the puck in the net at all, the New York Islanders, as of late, and that's concerning here. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they're off a loss against Montreal 3-2 in overtime. The Canadians always seem to give the Leafs trouble, and it happened again Saturday night. And I said it on yesterday's show, recapping Saturday. It's not surprising. Canadians are the Leafs as an opponent for the Canadians. That's like their Stanley Cup this year. That those are going to be the games that they get fired up for. Playing obviously a team like the or playing a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they're not going anywhere, but they always seem to get a good solid effort from the Canadians when they play the Leafs. We'll see if that continues, or we'll see if the Leafs bounce back here. I thought the first period they were terrific against Montreal, and then it's almost like, well, we're up 2-0, we dominated. We don't need to put any more work tonight. Our work is done. And sure enough, Montreal made them pay. They just got outplayed, outchanced, out-hustled Toronto in the last two periods, and that ended up being the difference maker in the end. But I would expect the Leafs to be in a bounce-back type of mode here. It's just a question of how do you want to bet it. You're not exactly getting a great price here necessarily, even within regulation, the Leafs. It's around minus 140, but I think I will go in that direction. I don't normally like to lay that price with a regulation bet, but kind of like that with Toronto, minus 140. If you're interested in the combo bets, which again, with some of these big favorites, I'm always interested in, this might not be a bad game to sprinkle in terms of you could go Toronto and under 6.5, and you can actually go Toronto and under 5.5 at plus 200. And the Islanders are a team that can't score right now. And for the most part, their games have been trending under the total. Now, they let Carolina score 5 Saturday night, so that game ended up going over the total. But no, for the most part, they've been trending under because of this, offense that is just not putting the puck in the net at this point in time. If you are interested in the Toronto and under 6.5 parlay or same game parlay combo bet, whatever you want to call it, you can still get a pretty good price on that as well, looking at plus 125 with Toronto and under 6.5 here in this game. I think that's not something I might dabble with as well. And I'm not Mr. Under, but I do think after the Montreal game, you'll see the Leafs kind of bounce back toward playing solid defensively. They've actually gone under in 4 of their last 6 games. We know the Islanders 7-2 to the under in their last 9 games, and series history-wise, Islanders versus Leafs, 4 of the last 5 head-to-head meetings have gone under the total as well. So Toronto in regulation is the main bet for me, minus 140, but Toronto and under 6.5 plus 125, I think is not a bad way to go from a combo bet standpoint. And if you want to sweeten the pot a little bit, Toronto and under 5.5 is plus 200. So there's definitely, I think, a reason to expect a lower scoring game. Sorokin and Samsonov, by the way, are going to be the goaltenders. Sorokin hasn't been nearly as good lately for the Islanders, but still capable, and he's actually played the Leafs pretty well. And Samsonov's the reason Montreal didn't take the lead sooner against Toronto the other night, because Samsonov was fantastic in that game, especially when Montreal turned that game up a little bit and turned their play up a little bit in the final 2 periods. So Samsonov's played 2 very good games in a row for the Leafs. And by the way, it's getting worse for the Islanders. I talked about how Palmieri is out, and Wallstrom's on IR, and Adam Pelech is out. Well, Noah Dobson, who's had, I think a very good year for this team, 10 goals, 17 assists, 27 points. He's been good at both ends of the ice, in his own end defensively, chipping in offensively, production from the blue line. And here he is, a game time decision tonight for the New York Islanders. So, if Dobson does not go for the Islanders here tonight, it's a huge blow. It's been right there and Pelech's, I think, their best all-around defenseman, and Dobson's right there with him. So if Pelech's going to be out again, Dobson's out too tonight, that's trouble for this New York Islanders blue line. Alex, it looks like connection issues, but we got him back. Alex, what do you think of your Islanders Leafs?
Yeah, I could hear and see the whole time, but I'm watching the YouTube video and I'm frozen on there, so didn't know what was going on. So I just came in and went back out. But this is an interesting game, and it's funny. I had to talk about it earlier, and I was just like, this is a complete pass for me. But the more I look into it, the more I'm leaning with Toronto first period puck line. And it's so strange because when I look back at my notes, I feel like that's the most when I bet Toronto, it's usually first period. It's never full game because we talked about how they tend to choke leads. They're always massive favorites. They weren't really haven't been that big of a first period over team in the last couple of years. They've kind of floundered up and down and just been middle of the road in that sense. But they do get off to early leads. And like I said, it's an Islanders team that's struggling offensively mightily. And like you said, even with a 6, you could look at an under, but you just kind of wonder, okay, at some point, Toronto, do they have one of those here they are at home laying an egg against a team they should beat. Do they have one of those moments, or vice versa? Can the Islanders finally just get that offense going and we have a back and forth game and then it goes over 6? So I don't want anything to do with the total here, but I'm going to go with Toronto first period puck line. I'm seeing minus. So laying a half go at plus 124 at FanDuel. I see a plus 130 at Bet65, but probably going to end up playing the plus 120 here. Seeing a couple other shops, so you can shop around, but you can definitely find some good value with that.
All right. Yes, indeed. All right. By the way, in terms of the lineups tonight, I was just checking to see there's going to be some good prop options later on because in the some of the game, actually for tomorrow with Ottawa, Ottawa's making just a shit ton of line changes. So it's going to be interesting to see. There's going to be some prop opportunities tomorrow. But for the Leafs tonight in this game, Calle Yarncroke scored, the other night against Montreal. Continues to be one of my favorite looks from the Leafs standpoint in terms of player props. Playing with Tavares and Marner continues to chip in for them. All right, Florida Panthers, New York Rangers. Rangers minus 135 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Should be an interesting matchup. I'll give Florida credit. They've won a couple in a row, 4 of their last 5. The only loss was against Toronto in overtime. And I'll tell you what, they've had goaltending health concerns, obviously. Spencer Knight continues to be, battling injury, and Sergei Bobrovsky now as well has been out for the last few games and unavailable for the Panthers. What's funny and what Paul Maurice is doing here is that Spencer Knight, was out for a bit, sent down to the AHL. And down there, he in 2 appearances with the Charlotte Checkers. He had a 2.01 goals against average, 918 save percentage. He's been recalled from the AHL by the Panthers, but he's not getting the start tonight. They're going back to Alex Lyon, who, to be quite honest with you, he's been very solid here in these last 2 starts in net for the Florida Panthers, victorious against Montreal and Minnesota in back-to-back games. Florida offensively has really started to come alive. 5 straight games where they have scored at least 4 goals, 4-4-4-6-5 goals scored in the last 5 games by this Panthers team. We'll see if that continues here tonight against the Rangers, who are coming off a 3-1 setback in their last game against the Boston Bruins. And that game came all the way back on Thursday last week. So this has been a nice little 3-day stretch without playing for the New York Rangers. They've gotten a little downtime here, a little opportunity to rest up. I do want to caution you, though. Usually you think 3 days rest, a little bit of time to catch your breath, get some practice time in, heal up any injuries, bet on situation, right? Rangers this year, 3 days rest or more, 0-2. So they haven't exactly gotten the job done in this kind of spot. That being said, it does set up well for the Rangers. I lean in their direction. Minus 135, but I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger here, honestly, because I do like what I'm seeing from the Florida Panthers offensively. And I think what's very encouraging about Florida during this recent stretch is, they've definitely had multiple people step up for them. Anton Lundell has been massive as of late for the Panthers. 5 points and 3 goals in the last 4 games. He is public. I was going to say public enemy number 1, but he's not my enemy if I'm going to try to bet him in terms of player props. But target number 1, if you will, in terms of player props for the Panthers right now. Anton Lundell, who's actually been moved up to the top line with Barkov and Reinhart. So there's no question he's feeling it right now for the Florida Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe continues to be just outstanding as well. Could go in that direction if you're looking at props in this game. The 2 Sam I Am, Bennett, and Reinhart, are chipping in now after a little bit of a lull in their offensive production at points during the season. Reinhart in particular has got 2 goals and 5 points in the last 2 games for the Panthers. And our old friend, who I'm talking about, E2, Cool Mint Lusterinen. Don't forget about him either for the Florida Panthers. He got on the board, scored against Minnesota in the victory the other night. So there's a lot of good prop options for the Florida Panthers, although I know they're facing obviously a Rangers team that it can be, very stingy defensively, likely Igor Shesterkin in net. But still, I think there's options here for the Panthers maybe in terms of their player props. The Rangers on the flip side, they have not exactly been lighting it up offensively here. You look at 3 of their last 4 games held to 2 goals or less. But I think they're going to get on the board here against Florida a little bit, even with Lyon playing well. Let's keep in mind, still a very small sample size. You played a Montreal team, that you took advantage of, and a Minnesota team, in the middle of at the end of a road trip. So this will be a challenge here on the road here for Lyon. I think Lyon will give up a couple of goals here to the Rangers at least. I think Florida can find the back of the net. And how the hell am I going to argue with the series history between these two teams in terms of totals? I mean, 10 straight overs, and I think it goes back even further than that. Someone in our chat saying 14 straight games have gone over the total between the Panthers and the Rangers. And in the last 26 meetings, 22-4 to the over between these two teams. 22-4 to the over in the last 26. For some reason, Panthers and Rangers, they get together, and we end up seeing a lot of goals and high-scoring hockey. And if you actually look back at the meetings as well, and by the way, I want to point out, too, with the Panthers, Aaron Ekblad left the last game with an upper body injury for the Florida Panthers. We'll see if he's in the lineup tonight. It does look like he will for the Panthers. They avoided, a potential disaster there. We know how important he is for the Panthers. But, they're starting to get their game going. Lyon's been good, but I don't think Lyons is going to pitch a shutout tonight either. He'll give up a couple, and he did against Montreal, and he still gave up 3 against Minnesota, even though he won that game. So all this talk that Alex Lyon's playing awesome. He's playing good. But let's pump the brakes on saying he's playing awesome. Let's not go that far just yet. So I'm going to end up pulling the trigger on over 6.5 in this game. It's just a series history play that's hard to ignore, in my opinion. Lean Rangers as well. I'm just not loving the minus 135 price. Might look in game if they fall behind and bet the Rangers then. What do you think here, Alex? Panthers, Rangers.
Yeah, I wish this game was tomorrow, actually, for the betcast, because this is a live spot for me. First period and full game overs. I'm trying to wait for 1.5, anywhere in the minus $1.20, $1.25 range for that first period, and definitely want a 5.5. Probably would look for more of a close to the pick 'em range or plus money with that over. Like I said, that's just a hard trend to ignore. Florida trying to get things rolling in the right direction finally, and even with the Rangers, like I said, just freaking. Has just been completely just shut down. And Yaroslav Halak, if he were to get the start, he's won his last 4 starts, already beat Florida, had performance 32 saves on 35 shots faced. So, it's either goaltender, really, it's not like, there's still a massive drop off between the two in my ratings, but I still think this is, like I said, one of those games where you can see good offense going back and forth each way, and that's been the trend with these two teams. So that's the way to ride it, but I'm just going to wait for better prices and numbers live.
All right, good stuff indeed. All right, next up, we've got Buffalo and Dallas. Actually, you know what? Before we get to Buffalo and Dallas, this is the midway point of the card. Hit the like button, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, and shout out to the podcast listeners as well. We're back to break down the last 2 games of this Monday card, but first we'll hear from Gramco.
All right, whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products such as vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you, and is also available at many American retailers as well. Get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. You visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code Ice Guys, you get 25% off of any order, and all orders on the site that are $50 and higher are shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we are back here on the Ice Guys, and we go to Buffalo and Dallas now. The Sabres trying to lift the spirits of the city of Buffalo after a tough end to the season for the Bills yesterday in the divisional playoffs against the Bengals. The Stars minus 180, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. This is a fascinating game to handicap because you got Dallas. Obviously, they've played a terrific, just workmanlike effort last game against the Arizona Coyotes, shutting out Arizona 4-0. Their second straight win. They've won 3 of their last 4 games as well. A pretty solid 13-8 home record this year as well for the Stars. We'll see if they carry that over here tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. Sabres have won 2 in a row at home against the Islanders and the Ducks, but the Islanders struggling mightily right now. and Anaheim is Anaheim. So this will be a little bit of a tougher challenge here in this matchup for the Sabres. That being said, we've seen a distinct pattern here at times with this Buffalo team where, at home they've been hit or miss, and actually at home their record's not really all that spectacular this year, Buffalo. They've actually got one fewer win at home than they do on the road this season. So, it's not always been a great bet to take the Sabres on at home. And regardless of whether they're playing a good team or an inferior team, like we've seen them, lose to Seattle and lose to Winnipeg at home, lose to Florida at home. We've also seen them lose to Philadelphia at home. So, at home ice, really, until these last two wins wasn't great. On the road, we've kind of seen the Sabres stumble against weaker competition, like the Chicago game, where they had a 3-1 lead, and they ended up losing that game 4-3 in overtime. But the Sabres are in that one, that they're in that price range, and they're in that, at that situation where they're getting a big road underdog price. They're on the road. They're facing a good, above average or good team, and that's what the Dallas Stars are. And when the Buffalo Sabres have been in these spots lately, they've been getting the job done. They've been winning some of these games. Look at the recent pattern. I'll go all the way back and trace this all the way back to December the 15th at Colorado. They won 4-2 as road underdogs. At Vegas, another good team, above average team, 3-2, they won as road dogs. At Boston, New Year's Eve, big road dogs, they won in overtime, 4-3. At Washington, another above average to good team on the road as underdogs, they won 5-4 in overtime. The last time they faced, above average to good team on the road as underdogs at Nashville, 5-3. I mean, it's a pattern. Buffalo has raised their game. They've stepped up in these spots. Above average to good teams on the road as an underdog. This has been the spot to bet Buffalo. All right, it has been. And we've seen it now repeatedly since the middle of December. I mean, that's not a bad stretch of victories, in terms of road games against Colorado, Vegas, Boston, Washington, Nashville. Not bad. You're going on the road and you're beating some teams like that. So it's just been very interesting that this is typically the spot and the time and the price and the situation you want to back Buffalo in. So I think I might sprinkle a little flyer on Buffalo. It's nothing super strong. I am concerned about the matchup a little bit. I am concerned that in Dallas long term, they've won once in their last 9 trips to Dallas. That is concerning. Dallas is very much, rested. They had that road trip. They come back home. They avoid the flat spot. They take care of a struggling Arizona team, and now they get to stay home with no travel. So there's no scheduling advantage that Buffalo has in this game, but they have consistently been a step-up team in these spots on the road against, above average or better teams. So I do lean Buffalo here, and I'll probably sprinkle a couple bucks on it. Ottinger in net for the Stars. Anderson projected for the Buffalo Sabres. Hasn't been confirmed yet, but they are trying to get him, it seems, in and get him a start every few games. They don't want him resting for too long, so we'll see about that if he's the starter for the Buffalo Sabres. Yes, Dallas, in terms of Roope Hintz, he has certainly been someone that's been banged up lately. He's missed the last 7 straight games for the Dallas Stars, but there is a chance he returns tonight, but it will be a game-time decision whether he returns following the upper body injury. Tyler Seguin has been filling in for him on the top line during his absence. So what do you think here, Alex? Buffalo, Dallas?
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit before we went on air. Let's say it's just kind of a tough spot. Like I said, it's a great, traditionally great spot for Buffalo. Like I said, they've been great road dogs as of late, cash with these numbers. But I've just been having some tough times lately with back in Buffalo and Dallas. This is that, like I said, I mentioned it earlier, teams that are, started off hot, that are having that kind of a tough middle of the road stretch, mid-season stretch, and guys, like I said, getting hurt, guys being just a little bit out of form and heading toward the break. I feel like Dallas might be one of those teams that, it makes more sense to fade them than back them in this next week heading into the break. But that, like I said, with that being said, and even this goaltending matchup where the money move has been there on Dallas because of Ottinger confirmed. Anderson's just a guy I simply just can't back right now. So it's a clear pass for me.
Clear pass for Alex in this one. As far as the prop market goes, I'm looking at the combinations here. I'll tell you what, lately, Wyatt Johnston is always, I think, someone to consider every single game for the Dallas Stars. He scored against Arizona, 2 points in the last 2 games for them. He had a little bit of a cold spell, but showing signs of getting it back. Remember, he's only 19 years old. He's already been just remarkable for a 19-year-old rookie. And he's got 12 goals, 8 assists, 20 points already, and definitely someone to keep in mind. Look, Jamie Benn's on fire right now, and that's a big reason why Dallas is winning games. I mean, when he's locked in and he's got it going, and Jamie Benn, you just don't know night to night. What are you going to get from Jamie Benn? But, right now he's playing well. 5 straight games with a point for the Dallas Stars and 3 goals during that span. So definitely keep that in mind. You can take a look at this situation here where we've got him playing well, and it seems like Dallas's success goes with it. On the Buffalo side of the equation, I mean, right now, you could talk all you want about, the big guns of Tuck Skinner and Tage Thompson. They've been phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but Dylan Cousins not getting the love he should be. I have been giving him the praise and the kudos and the props, no pun intended, for the last several games, much of the season, but he deserves it. 3 goals for him in the last 5 games for the Buffalo Sabres. He's definitely, I think, the most undervalued player in their prop market right now. No question with the way he's played for the Sabres in recent games. Had that beautiful overtime winner as well last week against the New York Islanders on Ryan Miller night. Very impressive stuff. All right, last game, the game that everyone's anticipating. I can't say in terms of the standings, it's one of those games that we're really anticipating it because Columbus and Calgary is going to be a great game. Well, no, we know Columbus isn't very good. But for tonight, we are interested to watch the Columbus Blue Jackets play as Johnny Gaudreau makes his return to Calgary for the first time with the Blue Jackets. Flames here, minus 360, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this one. This should be a great environment. Johnny Gaudreau is trying to just, say the right things and that, hey, if they boo me, I'm fine with it. That's what he said this morning during the media availability. What else is he going to say? Fine with it or not, you're going to have to deal with it. If they do give you the Boo Birds tonight, when I think they will, they're going to obviously do a nice little video tribute. It's what they'll do here in Calgary tonight, and I'm sure they'll give him a little ovation at that time. But when the game's going on and he has the puck, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he gets booed every time he has the puck, which has become a popular thing to do with a lot of different fan bases. I mean, they feel scorned, jilted, if you will, Calgary Flames fans, because they had an opportunity to stay. Now, he said for personal reasons, and all the rest, that being closer to home in New Jersey, being back east was more important. I still, to this day, wonder why Columbus, why not New Jersey or, someone, especially when you see the season now the Devils have been having. But definitely Johnny Gaudreau, we'll see how he fares tonight. I want to point this out, too, about Gaudreau and the season he's had here with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's had an okay season. It hasn't been an incredible season. And I know he's still got 44 points in 46 games, nearly a point per game this year. And that's still pretty good, but it feels like it's been a quiet 44 points for him. It really does. And maybe it's just because the team has not been winning this year, 14-32 record. But nevertheless, it doesn't feel like it's been a massive 44-point production for him in 46 games. It feels like it's been quiet. 13 goals, 31 assists for him. Minus 15, by the way. Now, look, there's a lot of players on this Jackets team that are bad plus-minus rating. So I don't want to make it sound like Johnny Gaudreau is the only player that's in this predicament, but still, minus 15, it's not good in that regard for Johnny in terms of his play. He has gotten 3 points in the last 2 games, had a goal and an assist in the game against San Jose. And if you're ever going to, look toward Johnny Gaudreau props tonight, it would be in a game like this. He's going to want to make an impact, especially if the crowd's going to get, on his case during the game tonight and, heckle him, boo him, all that shit. If that does happen, certainly, as a player, you want to shut them up. You want to make an impact, and he'll be looking to do that here. This is definitely one of those games where, Johnny Gaudreau, we say he's an equal opportunity player. He can score, but he's known more as a playmaker, a great passer, someone that can set it up for his teammates. This is definitely one night where, I see an over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 130, plus 110 to plus 130 at a bunch of different books. I think it's worth a look tonight. That Johnny Gaudreau will be looking to shoot the puck more than maybe normally he would facing his former team. So I think from a prop standpoint, And I'm not a big shots on goal guy. And the people always say you ignore the shots on goal, Ian, when you're breaking down these games. Well, it's just that I don't bet them too much. But this one makes sense to me. Situationally, it does. That even a guy that is known for dishing the puck, not so much shooting it as much, will be looking to maybe shoot the puck a little bit more here tonight in this game against his former team here in Calgary. So over 2.5, it's plus 110 in a lot of books. Unibet has plus 130 on that over 2.5 shots prop for a Boudreau. And obviously to score a goal tonight, not a great price, but still plus 270, plus 275 at BetMGM for a Boudreau to score a goal. That's not bad, to look in that direction with his props. Any props tonight involving him, whether it's assist, whether it's points, whether it's a goal prop, worth a look, no question. The assist prop is even money, by the way. That's not a bad consideration either. In fact, you're better off betting Boudreau assist than points, because points is minus 180, just to get a point. To get an assist, it's plus 100. It's even money. So it's a better option. I'd say go with assists to get an assist plus 100, a goal plus 270, and plus that over 2.5 shots on goal at plus 110 to plus 130. I think you'll cash more of those than not here tonight in this game involving a Boudreau. As far as the side or the total goes, it's worth noting, Alex, Darth Vladar is getting a second straight start here for the Flames. He was very good against Tampa Bay. It was one of the best games they've played, one of the most complete games they've played against the Lightning this year. That looked like, wow, I saw a Flames team that could be dangerous in the Stanley Cup playoffs on Saturday afternoon. That's how good that performance was. I mean, they steamrolled Tampa Bay. Like, they controlled that game start to finish. They were all over Tampa. It's by far the best and most impressive I've seen this Flames team play this year. They've been up and down like a yo-yo. Now can they build on that? And with Johnny Gaudreau coming to town, he goes back to Vladar, Daryl Sutter. It's probably the right move because it's just been way too erratic from Jacob Markstrom. And I think he's gotten to the point, Alex, where he's sick of these early goals going in. And it's been a lot when Markstrom's been in net. These first 5-10 minutes, there's a goal in the back of your net already. It's got to stop. And Dan Vladar was very good against Tampa. He's earned this second consecutive start in between the pipes, in my opinion. So I think Calgary probably wins, but I mean, obviously you're talking minus 360. And if there's a game that Johnny and the collective Jackets team is going to get up for, it's going to be this kind of game in this kind of environment. So I wouldn't be laying a price of this magnitude with Calgary. You could do crazier things than take a shot with the Jackets. It is plus 300. It is kind of got that Montreal-Toronto feel to it from Saturday night, where this is like a Stanley Cup for Columbus. Their prized free agent acquisition, and they're returning with him back to Calgary, the place he used to play. You're going to get, I think, effort and intensity from the Columbus Blue Jackets. The question is, will it be enough? Both teams to score in the first period. Someone suggested that. That's not a bad look in this game. I think that this is definitely one of those games where I think there's just so much pent-up energy with these two teams right off the hop. And the energy of the crowd, they'll feed off that. I could see, plus 130, plus 140, whatever it is, both teams to score first period would be a good look. And I definitely lean over 6.5 here in this game as well, because I think it could get chippy. You could see obviously some penalties being taken. With Vladar and net, obviously I think the better defensive and goaltending situation for Calgary. Nevertheless, even in Vladar's starts, he sometimes will give up 2 or 3. Calgary's got potential, I think, to get 4, 5, even 6 maybe past Columbus in this game, regardless of who's in net, Merzlikins or Korpisalo, because that Calgary offense finally came to life against a very good Tampa Bay team. I mean, you put 6 past Tampa and Vasilevsky, although I think 1 or 2 of those was an empty net, but nevertheless, they had a great offensive showing against, a great goaltender. I think you'll see Calgary score a bunch tonight. So over 6.5 would be the way I'd look at this game in terms of the total. Alex, what do you think here? Fascinating one. The Johnny Gaudreau Bowl, if you will. Columbus, Calgary.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's the first thing I bet this morning. I bet over 6.5, laid $1.05 with that. I feel like this could be a real high scoring affair. And, if you want to tack in, Johnny Gaudreau props with, certain things, I was looking at MGM, they always talk about the win and over prop. But I was looking at Calgary over 5.5 and Johnny Gaudreau to score a goal. That's plus 500 at BetMGM. If you take Calgary out of it and just go Gaudreau to score and over 5.5, you're still looking at plus 333. So anything in that range I would definitely be looking at if you're looking for some same game parlays, knock it down to a 5.5. But I'm fine with the 6.5 here too. Normally I would be waiting to play these live, but I just think this one's going to just be a crazy kind of back and forth game. Like I said, Columbus's defense is shaky. Vladar's looked much better than Markstrom, but we've seen him have a tendency to give up some early goals too. I remember that start he had against Chicago, had that first period over, and it helped because he gave up the second shot that he faced. So there's issues with Calgary giving up these goals early. And like I said, Columbus is jazzed up. This could go back and forth. So I think this might actually end up being a fun one to watch, because despite, these are two middle-of-the-road teams. It should be a good one. I like to go over the total.
There you go. All right. I agree with a lot of those. And that's a great little price, plus 500 on that combination that you mentioned there, that over and the Johnny Gaudreau to score. No question about that. Very, very appealing price tag with that. No doubt. Great.
And I love
great
that books are doing that too, because that's something I've always said. I'm like, wow, I like a player to score on this team, but doesn't mean I think they're going to win. I would love to bet 2 or 3 players on another team that I think are going to score, but I think it's going to be they're going to lose 5-3 and then have the other side. So I'm glad that you're having that flexibility to do that with some of these same game parlays.
By the way, I want to point out something here for the Jackets. Plus 200, if you could really have some fun same game parlay props going tonight with Johnny Gaudreau, because I have no doubt he's going to want to play well tonight. There's no question. There's no question he's going to want to play well tonight. And I know there's been those moments where Johnny Gaudreau just disappears, and that was some criticism at times in the playoffs. Disappears a little bit. He won't disappear tonight. He'll be wanting to play well, especially if the crowd's getting on him at the Saddle Dome tonight. You could do a same game parlay, SGP, Bet365. You could do Johnny Gaudreau over 2.5 shots on goal, and just to get a point, 1 point plus 200. Just for that.
Yeah.
Just for that, it's plus 200. That's phenomenal. If you really want to sweeten the pot and really want to go for the bigger payout, if you will, you could throw in assists, and that makes it plus 300. And if you really want to get brave, you could throw in him to score a goal in this game tonight, and that's going to turn it into plus 800.
Yeah.
So if you want to go full gusto, Johnny assist, Johnny point, Johnny goal, Johnny over shots on goal, that quartet, plus 800.
Wow.
There you go. Sprinkle,
nice.
Just sprinkle on. Have some fun.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be doing with that. So we'll see how it plays out here tonight. But interesting, just the game itself, and more specifically the atmosphere, the ambiance, and the environment at the Saddle Dome tonight for this game as they welcome Johnny Gaudreau back to Cowtown, to Calgary. That'll be very interesting to see how it all unfolds. All right, that is the Monday card. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Again, hit the like button on the way out. 205 live viewers on YouTube. Absolutely. Great turnout. We appreciate it. And our podcast listeners as well. A reminder, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. Our daily Ice Guys show betting card is there. Power ratings, goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, and more. And a lot more on the way as well as we get past football season. Once football's over, we're ramping it up, baby, with the bonus content. So you better get ready for it. No doubt about that. We're going to plan some, I'm in the works of trying to get with some of our guests that we're going to have on after the All-Star break, doing bonus video segments with them. So that will be for our Patreon members as well. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. I can already tell you in the closer to the playoffs, because he's only available on weekends to do the extended interview segment. But Jordan Kristanovich, who is, as you could tell, pretty funny character when he was on with us a couple weeks ago. We're going to do something with him around the playoffs, like May. It'll be a few months down the road. It'll be an extended interview. He says he's got stories galore from his days. He was a coach, GM, and player for a Brayhead clan over in Scotland when he was in the EIHL. He was wearing all hats, the Reg Dunlop of the team, if you will. So he's got some funny stories about that. His early playing days with the Colorado Avalanche. He played, 20-some games for the Avs back when Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg were on the team. Those great Avalanche teams in the early 2000s. So he's got some really, really cool stories and anecdotes regarding his time there. So that's just one of many bonus video pieces that we have planned in the future here on the Patreon page. So worth the while to join and subscribe and sign up at patreon.com/Ice Guys. Just $10 a month for that. And again, the betcast tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. DM me if you want to get the link to the betcast, and we'll make sure we send it to you. Live betting, commentary, bring your favorite beverage along with you. Bar and a pub atmosphere, a lot of fun. First betcast of 2023 tomorrow night on Tuesday. Looking forward to that. All right, we're looking forward to best bets as well and seeing how we can make some money on this Monday night card. Best bets coming up right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, our good friends at Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, courtesy of the Ice Guys. Get 20% off of any purchase and free worldwide shipping with the promo code Ice Guys. That's promo code Ice Guys, all one word, ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 400 million balls that you can help preserve with manscaped.com using the promo code Ice Guys. You get the Performance Package 4.0. It is a game changer. The Lawnmower 4.0. It takes care of this, among other things. It'll keep you trim as can be. The Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof. Same thing with the Weed Whacker, which takes care of your ear hair, nose hair. I mean, nose hair in particular. You know, I'm getting up there in age, and nose hair is becoming definitely more of an issue. This will take care of it. It feels like someone's tickling the inside of your nostrils sometimes. It pisses the hell out of me. It bothers me. I need to take care of that shit. This will take care of it for you. The Weed Whacker makes part of the package that you get with your Manscaped purchase and the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. You also get the ball toner. You also get the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good and looking good and feeling good down in the nether regions. This package is really going to make you feel good and look good and look better, slim, trim. That's what it's all about. And manscaped.com can help you out with that. So make sure you take advantage of this. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code IceGuys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code IceGuys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we are back here on the Ice Guys, and we are ready for Best Bets. Alex, back on the show on a Monday. What do you like for Best Bet?
Yeah, let's go with this late game. We go Columbus, Calgary. We're going to go over 6.5. Laying it off. I'm actually seeing some plus prices popping up too. So if you can find plus money, it's even better. But definitely liking this Blue Jackets Flames. I think this is going to be just a fun back and forth battle. Vladar has looked sharper than Markstrom, but he still has had his issues. Columbus's defense has just been non-existent most nights, so this is gonna be a fun one. Go Jackets Flames over 6.5. That's my best bet for this Monday.
All right, Jackets Flames over 6.5. There it is, best bet for Alex P. Smith. And my best bet is over 6.5. But from another game, we'll go Panthers Rangers over 6.5, minus 115. Panthers have gone over the total, I believe, in 3 straight games going into tonight. We know the series history, 14 consecutive head-to-heads. Panthers and Rangers have gone over the total, including the earlier meeting this year, January 1st, New Year's Day. It was 5-3 Rangers in Florida. It's been an incredible, uncanny track record of high-scoring games. If you actually go back and look at Florida here, the last 5 games for them, 4 of the 5 have gotten beyond 6.5 goals in the game. So they've been trending that way. The Rangers, not so much, but series history dictates. And I think after the last few games, they got to start scoring goals. They've been off since Thursday, where they only scored 1. I think the onus is on offense tonight for the Rangers, getting that going again, and that should help as far as the over is concerned. So Panthers Rangers over 6.5, minus 115 for my best bet for this Monday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. Betcast tomorrow night, a huge Tuesday. We've got our daily show, 2 p.m. Eastern, to break down the massive 11-game card. And then we are back on Tuesday night with our live Betcast. Ice Guys Live Betcast, first of 2023, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, DM me for the link to the Betcast if you want to join us live during the betcast tomorrow night. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Tuesday, a daily double Tuesday of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.